Now, what did you love most about the 80s? The fashion, Alison?
Oh, I loved it. I miss it. I miss it. Or maybe...
There's nothing you can do about it.
Maybe it was the music. It could be the music, and that's what we're talking about now with pop legend Midge Ure, who's starring in a brand new documentary about the club where 80s music sound was born.
Oh, I cannot wait to see this. Midge Ure joins us now. Good morning, Midge. How are you?
Morning.
Good morning, guys.
Oh,
It's great to have you with us. So, Midge, firstly, tell us a bit about the documentary. What can viewers expect?
Exactly what you've just seen there. A wealth of, young people striving to try and find something that was theirs. This is the late 70s, so 78, 79 that all this started. So it was a 3-day working week. It was Thatcherism in the UK. It was very, very tough times. And they just wanted somewhere where they could all kind of meet up and listen to music and express themselves, basically. You saw it there in the images.
Yeah.
It looks so much fun, the Blitz Club. I want to go. And the weirdest thing is, me and Dermot was talking about the fact that it was on a Tuesday of all the days of the week. A Tuesday is not particularly the best of day. Like, you could be working that morning and then you'd go on a Tuesday. Is that what would happen?
I think work was few and far between, Alison. But yeah, a Tuesday, it's simply because the clubs weren't doing business, midweek. There was a little club that ran prior to the Blitz, a little place called Billy's in Covent Garden, and in Soho, I should say. And of course, my friend Rusty Egan, who was the DJ who put this together with Steve Strange, they would take these clubs, which were empty in the centre of London, and just say, we can fill it. We can find all these great kids who just want somewhere to go and meet. So the Blitz Club was empty on a Tuesday night, except when kind of we took over.
And what was it about the place itself, Midge? Because you touched on it, that the times were quite bleak, and I suppose musically we're kind of coming out of the anti-establishment kind of like punk era, and it seems to me there's so much about aesthetics in this. It's about how people dressed and how they looked and taking pride in their appearance. Would that be right?
Well, there's an element of that, absolutely. You have to understand that the kids who started this whole Blitz scene, I think some of them were called the Bromley contingent, and they had kind of been at the very instigation of punk, which started in 76, 77. And by this point, punk was becoming high street fashion. We had second generation, third generation punk bands coming out. Everyone was a punk band. And all these kids just run a mile. As soon as it becomes popular, they just don't want to have anything to do with it anymore.
Yeah.
A bit like your younger brother or younger sister starting to like the music you like. You instantly want to move on and like something else. So they set this up. They wanted to be somewhere that was theirs. And also, you've got to remember, we saw it in the clip there, these were the children of the kind of Bowie, Roxy years, T-Rex, the androgyny of it all, the style of it all. And they turned their back on the punk thing and set up this. So they wanted to, raid their granny's wardrobe, which is exactly what they did, because they had no money, so they turned up looking absolutely fabulous or completely bizarre, and it all merged.
It's like me and you, isn't it? No, but seriously,
you would have loved it, Alison.
You know what? I think I would have absolutely loved it. The music is totally up my street. Just being something different is totally up my street. But what I wanted to know was, it attracted amazing talent, like Mick Jagger got refused entry. I think Bowie was there. Was you around when Bowie was there?
I was, and it was hysterical, to say the least. You've got all these uber cool kids all standing, voguing before voguing was a thing, just standing, by the bar looking very cool with a long cigarette holder and dressed in some fabulous 1940s outfit. And at the moment David Bowie turned up, all the coolness just fell, because their hero was there. The master had just walked into the club, and it was they were running around like headless chickens. So,
oh, wow.
But how cool! And of course Bowie had heard about it, and he took 4 people, including Steve Strange, the next day, still dressed in the outfits they were in, on a video shoot, and they're actually in the Ashes to Ashes video.
That's great.
Oh, look at him there, David Bowie.
There you go.
I'd love to have been there.
Me too.
That's how they were dressed that night. That's how they came out of the club. you know, it's
And Mitch,
wonderful.
this is obviously a time of great kind of almost a watershed in kind of self-expression. And George said in the clip we just saw, it was the first time it was like you didn't want to be straight, you know. And some of the
Some of us.
and Alison touched on it as well. Some of the names and faces you got through there. But at the time, I remember reading that. When I was reading about the Blitz Club years ago, that I think Boy George was working in the Cloak Room, wasn't he? I mean, and you had Spandau Ballet doing early gigs there. Was there a sense that musically something was going to happen from it that was quite special?
There was a sense that it was artistically, it was somewhere creative. It was somewhere that like-minded people could go. A club is just a room, you know, 4 walls and a sound system. It's the music you play there that infuses it all, and it's the people who inhabit it that make the club. And you had this mix of people who were about to go out into the outside world and do amazing things. But none of us knew that. None of us knew that. You know, Rusty and I and Steve were just putting Visage together. I had just joined Ultravox. I just bought a synthesizer. So this new technology, the technological revolution had happened at the same time that we were, you know, importing all this great music from Germany, all these fantastic electronic beats and things. And this fashion thing, this personalized style, because that's what it was. It was style over fashion. It became fashion 6 months later, when you could buy the outfits on the high street. And at that point, all the people who instigated it all ran away again.
Amazing. And just out of interest, did the music video for Vienna, was that inspired by the Blitz?
I can't tell whether it was inspired by the Blitz or the Blitz was inspired by it. The great thing about that particular period was, and I suppose the Vienna video, was it's timeless. You couldn't. It's a bit like the movie Blade Runner. You know, you don't know whether it's set in the future or the past. And that was what the Blitz was. You know, the club was already called the Blitz. It was all painted with 1940s Blitz type decor. But the people who were there, some of them looked as though they came from that era, but other people look as though they just landed from Mars, and it all just kind of worked. So yeah, I suppose the essence and the ambience and the atmosphere that the Vienna video created would have come from that kind of look, that feel that was there.
Yeah.
I'm so
Midge, very
excited.
lastly, what about yourself in terms of music? You obviously had to postpone what you were doing last year. When you like to get out on the road again?
2022, I think we've been looking at trying to put things in over the last year, but the goalposts keep changing, so we have to make sure it's safe, a safe environment. I was in Australia this time last year when the tour got cut short, and for a year I've been sitting here, you know, doing my little multicam performances and things. But 2022 is when we're realistically thinking it's time to go back out. People are starved of entertainment, and I'm starved of going out and performing.
Yeah, I'm starved as well, babe.
Thanks,
I'm
Mitch.
definitely come to see you. Thanks so much. And your documentary's out on Saturday, the 13th of March, Sky, 9 p.m. Can't wait.
Blitz, the
Can't
80s
wait.
Blitz Club stories.